So, everybody, welcome. Lee Roth with the Dean King Training Institute, and another installment in our graduation interviews. Um, I'm gonna mess up your last name, but
okay.
I don't know why. I'm usually really good at everyone's last names, even foreign last names, but Marcos is for some reason it just escapes me sometimes. So please introduce yourself.
You need to say it.
You
need to say
oh
it.
man, okay. It's Elizalde,
You did pretty good. Most people jack it up completely.
right?
Yeah. So the way I pronounce it is like, if I'm going more with an English, it's like Elizalde.
Elizalde.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'll emphasize the Z and the A a little bit more.
and not the E.
Yeah, not the E.
Got it.
Yeah.
E silent.
No, not completely.
Oh. Well, I've reverted back to my high school English. What can I say? It's about time I used English and not Texan. What can I try every once in a while. So anyhow, welcome. Marcos is just finishing up a 2-week course with us, and I got to tell y'all something. And I know I say this periodically, and I do mean it every time I say this. But this young man has absolutely blown me away. He's done a 2-week course, and for this young man is at the end of 2 weeks is unheard of. It doesn't happen in our world, in our industry, of anything. This kid was glassing his dents out that I was giving him on Tuesday of his second week. He did a crease in a quarter panel of an older Honda Accord this week that was about a 14-inch crease, 14, 16 inches. It was pretty much darn near the whole length of the quarter panel. And it was nasty. I mean, this is a crease that I would have charged a ton of money for if it was a retail customer. And actually, this car is one of our other students' cars that we were working on. And he took this thing to 98% real quickly. To the point that and a shout out to Bonnie and Tim. I put one of my PDR Finesse Mark Turkis rods in his hand, which is a tool that any of you trainers out there that happen to watch this know you don't put a sharp tip tool like that into a new technician's hands that quick. I mean, you're talking about a damn near razor sharp tip. And I handed him that rod and I said, look, this is what this rod is. This is how you use this rod. Tread lightly. It's going to move the metal beautifully for you. You don't have to push very hard. And all the specifics of using a sharp tip tool. And the thing about Marcos is not only did he hang on every word that I said, but he truly was a sponge. You really were. And you took in every single thing that I said and just absorbed it. And tried it, figured out what worked for you, figured out what didn't work for you, and made it happen. And he took this sharp rod and just practically glassed this crease out. And for this young man to hit those levels in a 2-week class is just unheard of. Trust me, I was trying everything I could, short of just paying for it myself, to get this kid to Orlando in 2 weeks to be in the beginner competition. You guys would be in trouble. I'm telling you, there's some of you guys out there, the 15 that are in that competition. I'd be betting some money on him. I really would, and I know that's saying a lot for somebody that's 2 weeks in, but I have that much confidence in this young man because I genuinely been watching him push for the last 2 weeks, and it's been fun. It's been a pleasure and an honor to watch him push with what he's learned. So. From your point of view, how'd it go? How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I've definitely been hearing a lot of compliments, and I'm very thankful. Thankful for the opportunity to be here, and I've had great teachers. Everybody's been very helpful. I've learned various things from everybody, and even from watching everybody else here, the other students and stuff. It's been kind of watching them and analyzing some of the things they're doing to kind of implement it into my own pushing. Yeah, it's been great. I've loved the experience so far.
Cool. And surprisingly, we were just having a conversation about egos. His head hasn't swollen too big yet. But yeah, we were just talking about egos, and he said to me, he goes, I really wish I had more of an ego. But he kind of was thinking it's a bad thing. And I for one, don't think egos are a bad thing. I was just having this conversation with a couple of friends of mine from the industry the other night, and as a matter of fact, Ryan Shutt and Kevin Bird and Manny from Manny's PDR, right down here, not far from where you were at, they were on Ryan's show last night, his podcast, and they were talking about egos. It came up because, hey, there's a lot of egos in our industry. A lot of good egos, a lot of bad egos. But what I was explaining to him, in my opinion, is it takes somebody with an ego to be able to help someone else. It takes me having an ego to be able to do what I do, to teach, to help, to go to Mobile Tech Expo and do the announcing and have a blast with the Olympics and things like that. Just because you have an ego doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It can be. There's a lot of bad egos out there. You know, I'll refrain from using some of the words I want to use right now, but there is a lot of bad egos. But all of the, I guarantee you, and I don't mean this in a bad way whatsoever, the guys that are out there, that I cherish the friendship that I have with these guys, the Mike Toledos, the Jim Mitchells, the Kevin Birds, all these guys that are trainers in our industry, they're big egos. Mm-hmm. But they use it for good. They don't use it for bad. Yeah. And that's what you need to learn. That's what you need to develop. It's okay to have that ego.
Yeah, no, I completely understand the ego side of it. I was like, I didn't mean it in like, it hinders me sometimes. I think it's more of an intimidation thing because being the age I am and coming as far as I have and, learn, like knowing everything I know at my age, it kind of hinders me a bit, and it can be intimidating because I can see the judgment on people's faces.
Right. Oh, and I'm sure you get that. So tell everybody, how old are you?
I'm 24 years old.
Right. And how long have you been doing this?
2 weeks.
No. I don't mean just PDR. Okay. I mean, how long have you been in the industry?
Well,
what have you been doing?
I started detailing when I was about 12 years old, thanks to my dad. Didn't like it at first. I hated having to do all those things, but
that's because you were doing it for dad.
Yeah, I was doing it for dad. So. Now I do it with dad, so it's a lot better.
There's a difference in doing it for dad and with dad. Absolutely. That's a whole different story.
But yeah, in that sense, I'm very thankful for everything my dad has taught me. He's given me every opportunity up until this point now to learn everything I have, like detailing pretty much all cosmetic stuff I've pretty much learned at this point. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would probably say about 12 years now.
So you already do wheel repair, detailing. Do y'all do any ceramic coating?
No, we haven't got into it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But
and now you're adding PDR into it.
Yeah, and I have about 4 to 5 years of experience painting as well. So
nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, at 24 years old, this kid's already been around the block a couple of times. So I am, like I said, I'm super proud of where you're going and what you're going to do. And he's going to go back and hit the ground running on Monday. So what was your favorite part about the training?
I mean, besides interacting with everybody, I was like seeing my progress as I went on, like seeing the big old difference, especially given last Thursday, I started on a crease and it went absolutely terrible. I jacked it up completely. Same thing with the body line on Friday. I was not happy with it at all. And yeah, over the weekend, I kind of had the time spent away from it and coming back Monday and hopping back onto a body line.
So let me tell you about this body line shot real quick. It was on the door of this Honda, and it was directly in the body line of the front door. Now, it wasn't huge. It was about a nickel-sized dent, but it was very sharp. And for all of y'all in the industry out there, you genuinely know how difficult body line shots are. And he called me over after he'd been working on it for about 45 minutes? Maybe an hour?
Maybe an hour.
Somewhere in there. So he was genuinely taking his time and just working through it. And I walked over, and I can't believe this happened, but this is the God's honest truth. I knew where the dent had been. And he pointed out where the dent had been, but I, in the light, could see no remnants of it. He glassed it completely. And I just stood there, frankly, in awe for a minute, going, this is Monday of week 2, and you just glassed a body line. I want you to realize what that means, because that genuinely doesn't happen. So, major kudos. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, even though you've got some background in the recon industry, or not because you have, with that experience that you've got, and now coming into PDR, if you could give a piece of advice to somebody that wants to get into PDR, or another new technician, or somebody that's, whether they're coming in for training with us or whoever, what would that piece of advice be to get broke into this industry the best way? What would you tell them?
It's a tough one. It is a very tough one.
I never said I was going to make it easy.
I would say just whatever you can do to get your hands on it, like whether it comes to PDR, you know, if you want to learn how to paint, if you want to learn how to detail, whether it be your own car or just a piece of scrap that you can practice on. I think getting your hands on it, and then also finding a place that, you know, like, for example, in my scenario, I started off detailing with a company that I was working for, and I was able to move fairly quickly. Huge shout out to my dad, because he took part in getting me there and, you know, giving me the opportunity. Don't be discouraged. We're all have been in the position of being completely awful. When I first started painting, I painted a tan color car with a hue of pink, and I was so confused and couldn't figure it out for the life of me, and I had put a wrong toner in there. But yeah, and it happens. It's like, but you have to be willing to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes as you go on. It's like, and it's not going to be easy. I was actually talking to Lee and telling him, as you know, all the praises I've been hearing from all of them, it's like, it's as fantastic as it's been. I told him, I feel like I've also had an advantage being able to see it up close for so many years. And you know, in a sense, I did it on purpose, because I'd always talk to the PDR guys and just kind of observe what they were doing. That was something my dad always taught me, like,
always watch people.
Always watch. It's like, even if you're just talking to them, like when I talk to mechanics and stuff, I'm always watching what they're doing, just to kind of like see. I was like, maybe I don't understand it at the time, but in terms of like when I came here, I started to understand everything that I had been seeing these last few years.
Well, and to be honest with you, I recognize then in you that ability of you being able to watch somebody and really pick up what they're doing. Because when I would demo, when I showed you, where did that come from? When I showed you how to do something, you immediately was able to go do it. And that's a different kind of learning ability. And, you know, and back to what you said a minute ago about, you know, starting off and learning and having to get better at everything. Look, I tell everybody, I'm a Dean King grad. I went through this school better part of 19 years ago. You know, Skip Phipps in Missouri trained me, and I promise you, after the 2-week class, I sucked. Just like most everybody does, you know, and I use the term sucked in relevant terms, but, you know, I didn't come out who I am today, for God's sakes. And I pride myself in my abilities today, and I appreciate when people tell me, you know, hey, you make that look easy. Well, like I told you at one point, you said that to me, and I believe my exact response to you is, well, thank you, first of all, but if I can't make it look easy at this point, I have no business teaching you.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. So, but yeah, it does. It takes those 3 Ds, like I always say, is the drive, desire, and the dedication. And I got no qualms with you about where you're going to go. And yes, come hell or high water, you're going to be in that beginner competition come next year.
I'll be sure to make
and if you're as good this right now as you are, I can only imagine where you're going to be next year, and we'll find out. Well, Marcos, seriously, you've done phenomenal.
Thank you.
Our door is always open to you. You've got every way in the world to reach me, and you better do it. I'm always here for you. I'm super proud of you, and you've got a beautiful young family, and I wish you all the best and all the luck. Seriously, you are a part of this Dean King family, and you always will be.
Thank you.
So anything you ever need, please don't hesitate to reach out. And everyone, please, thank you very much. I hope this finds y'all very happy, very healthy in this new year that we're going through. I hope you enjoy these videos. We got another video coming next week with our grads. And don't forget, if any of y'all out there can make it down to Orlando, the Mobile Tech Expo, January 27th and 28th, I'll be there. I'm doing all the announcing for all the Dent Olympic competitions, all 3 of them. And come find me. Come have a drink with us. We'll all be hanging out, having a great time, and looking forward to seeing everybody. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you guys next year.
You bet.